All right, hey, well, you know what? Welcome back to Cinesquad because we had to change the name from Movie Squad, and we've been on a hiatus for a long time. And I'm Chase, and it's my man Lawrence.
Right.
And we actually did another City Squad a couple of months ago when Batman came out with Robert Pattinson, and something went wrong with it, whatever, so it never got released. But it's kind of like the Lost City Squad and everything. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll get a hold of that at some point. But either way, is that we're looking to bring City Squad back, with a whole new cast of people on the couches and stuff. But I just thought that there was a real interesting film that came out just recently. And I thought it would be really good to talk about it. You kind of said to me, "Hey man, I would love to do a podcast on it." Didn't you?
Yeah. It's basically this new horror movie that came out. I think it was this week. I think.
Yeah, well, people don't know because about the fact of when this plays, but yeah, recently. Let's just say recently. But it's called Black Phone, and actually, I think it was made last year, and it did some festival stuff and everything, but it was now finally released. But what's great is that Scott Derrickson is directing, who the last thing he did was Doctor Strange.
Well, he was meant to be rumored to be directing the new Doctor Strange, but apparently it was rumored that he didn't like the script, so he turned it down and did Black Queen and stuff.
Well, you should, because I mean, I thought it was the fact that he wanted the script to be more horrifying.
Yeah.
And Feige was initially down with it, and then it's like, when they started putting it together, it's like, nah. And then they went for Sam Raimi instead, which was pretty good. We're talking about Multiverse of Madness, of course. Yeah. But he also had this Sinister, which also involved some child actors and his tendency to use 16 millimeter clips, which he does in this film, and everything. But what I also thought was interesting is that it's written by Joe Hill, who is the son of Stephen King, my favorite writer. When I first started reading books, I started reading horror stories and stuff, and I started out with Stephen King and his compilation short stories and stuff. But Joe Hill is also the one that's behind Lock and Key and stuff. So, I thought, oh, okay, maybe this will be a horror movie I will watch, because I don't tend to watch horror movies. Do you tend to watch horror movies lately?
Not really. I'm not that big fan of horror movies myself, but I don't know. This one proper intrigued me. I think
What do you think intrigued you in the trailer or whatever?
I think it was the fact that Stephen Hawke was in it.
Ethan Hawke.
Stephen Hawke.
What a cool name.
But yeah, I think his character really intrigued me. Really, it's just from what I've seen of the trailers and all that, it was just like, wow, this is really interesting.
Well, I mean, what I think what the intriguing bit you're talking about is the mask. I mean, it was a full face mask, like a horn devil mask, but it was also kind of split, because what he would do is that he would wear different versions of the face. So you have the big smile, or you have the sad face, everything. So it's very what they call a comedy, tragedy, those kind of masks. But what I thought was really interesting is that I actually was watching, YouTube, and the mask was created by Tom Savini.
Oh, okay.
And one of his guys who he started out as just kind of like a flan, but then became a student. I can't remember his name. Excuse me. But they worked out the mask, and he did about 40 masks.
Wow.
For this movie, because I mean, it may also made during COVID and everything else like that. But they had to do, the different variations of the mask, the broken versions, and also, you had to have the mask for the stunt people, and then so that was all really intriguing. But they made the mask first and then sent it off to, Derrickson's people, so they weren't involved on the set and everything. Yeah. So, but yeah, in looking at the film, I'm like, fantastic job, really, really fantastic job. So, Black Phone. I mean, I remember when I first heard about the trailer, it was at one of those Comic-Cons and everything, and people were like, oh no, and I was like, oh, okay, this sounds intriguing and stuff, and it's set in the 70s, isn't it?
Yeah, 70s.
You know, so I love films that do that, especially horror films, you know, where in the small community, you know, you got the kids with the baseball shirts and, you know, you got the girls who, you know, look like little girls because, like, when I was a kid, they look like little girls. Yeah. They don't look like model women at 12. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got the pigtails and, you know, and all that other kind of stuff. You know, but the story follows, like, pretty much like a brother and sister, two kids. Yeah. In this neighborhood, but this neighborhood is plagued by someone going around and kidnapping kids. So it's a missing children story. Yeah. And so the person who's kidnapping them is known as the grabber. Kind of not a great name. You know, it's the 70s, so it's before Halloween, you know, where they gave him full names. Yeah. But, you know, and nobody supposedly knew what he looked like as well. So, you know, the kids are worried. What?
He always drove around in France, so it was kind of like, you know, like no one recognized this person except for the kids who got kidnapped by him.
Yeah, but also too, I think that, like, you know, when the Atlanta child murders happened, you know, that was more like the early 80s. So I think this is kind of like before that. Yeah. So, you know, like, you know, how you got kind of like people worried about the white van man now. Oh, yeah. And stuff like that. So, I mean, like, you know, the black van that he drives in. So basically, Ethan's character is a magician. And so on the van, it says abracadabra. Yeah. And everything like that, you know, and he has like black balloons and stuff. So that's what would attract any kid who was like, oh, magic, you know, like what happens to Finney is just that, you know, that's what happens. So, when one of the boys who get kidnapped, Gwen, the daughter, she knows his sister, and she says to the sister, like, I'm seeing like black balloons. So that's why the cops end up, you know, coming to talk to her because they're like, we never told anybody about the black balloons and stuff. Yeah. You know, so when she's like, you know, I just knew whatever and stuff like that. You know, at first I think they're a little bit dismissive and stuff, but. What I thought was intriguing was, who played the dad?
I think it was Jeremy Davies.
Jeremy Davies, yeah. Fantastic, man. So what I thought was really cool was, like, you know, that scene where, like, he grabs her out of bed and starts, he's wailing on her, and Finney wakes up. Oh, yeah. He hears her screaming, and, you know, he goes to the kitchen, and he's just whipping her with the whip, which... If you're from the 70s and corporal punishment, that's every night, or that's usual for parents, you know, to see, but not for us in the PC age. You probably, you know, that was, what do you think? That was probably more horrifying than anything else to see a man like whipping the child like, and her screaming.
Yeah, if I was around back then, I would, like, you know, attack the father. Like, I wouldn't give a shit, man.
Yeah, no, exactly, because he was like frozen. Finney was like frozen and stuff, but you wouldn't trust me, bro. I had an older brother, and so like the thing is, like, because they'll be like, oh, it's going to be me next if I go in and attack. But you know, but reason why Davies is upset is because what he reveals is that the mom has psychic abilities.
Yeah, I heard that because the dad was like saying to his daughter, like, oh, you're so much like your mother.
Yeah, well, because the cops came to his job, basically, and said, you know, so he was wailing on her because, you're not your mother, you know, and, like, because he's like, that killed her, you know, like, having that ability and stuff like that, you know, and then she yells back at him and stuff, and it was so visceral. I thought when I was listening to the interviews with the kids and stuff, you know, and the filmmakers of this show, they were talking about, like, how they did extensive rehearsals and table reads and stuff, and, you know, they had to be at a heightened emotion, and these kids were just, like, fantastic. They're like about 13, 14, and everything, but I just really like that scene where after he finished beating her and her, you know, they both sit down and watch TV, and then she puts her head on his shoulder, and I'm just like, you know, it was just like a real like tender moment and stuff, you know, between siblings. It's like, it's me and you against the world, and it's unfortunate that world starts out as our own dad, You know what I mean? You know, so that was really cool. And like, you know, so but then also too is we see them at school, you know, and everything. And I think at one point we hear a fight, you know, one of those after school fights.
Oh, yeah.
The noise of the fight, and so both Finney and Gwen go over to see that it's his mate who's like kind of like dressed up like an Indian, you know, kind of like Billy Jack and stuff, you know. And and he goes up against this big bully guy, you know, and everything. And he said, "Come on, hit me!" And the guy can't fight. And I just thought that was really good because he's, you know, like he's not like, you know, some sexy like he's just some fat kid who's bigger and who pushes probably little kids around. And so this kid is like he could fight. So then he's like not only just wailing on him, but then he's like got him on the ground and just like punching the crap out of his face and stuff, you know. And everybody's like, yeah, because it was a bully. But then there are these other bullies, you know, who are going after Finn. So they coming for him, and he knows they're coming for him. So he tries to like escape it to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, come on out. We know you're in here." And
then like the
then that kid comes along, you know, and he's still bleeding from, you know, like his knuckles, you know, from the punch. You know, and it's that thing like this kid is really cool and like that, but then he's one of the victims.
Yeah,
he becomes one of the victims.
Yeah, and like I like how like the bullies just like proper like back off because, you know, like if they start shit, like, you know, they're gonna get battered, like.
Yeah, and then that's the whole thing. For them, it's strength in numbers, you know. Like if they go after somebody, they're gonna go after, you know, like we can overpower you and all that kind of stuff, you know. And you know, so Finn's got backup, you know, and like the first kid we see that gets taken out is Bruce. You know, the Chinese kid.
Oh yeah.
And like, what was he doing before? He wasn't playing video games. What was he doing?
He was. I think he was like riding on his bike and something like that.
No, I know when he gets kidnapped, but I mean, like, there was a scene with him. Oh, baseball. Yeah, he was the one who hit the home run, wasn't he? Yeah. And stuff. And he had respect for Finn, you know, because Finn was the pitcher and everything. And but I thought it was kind of strange because it was the 70s.
Yeah.
So like. At first, it was like these two girls or something like that call him Bruce. And I'm like, oh, please tell me that's his name. And then I just call him Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, because it's the 70s. I think they said it was like 76 or something like that. You know, so I'm like thinking, Enter the Dragon, bro.
Yeah.
And here's Bruce. They're calling him Bruce. Fucking like that sly little racism thing. But then we see the not the Wonder Brother. We see the missing person poster.
Oh yeah.
You know, so his name really is Bruce. Yeah, but come on, parents. Name your kid as Bruce Lee or something. What you doing, man? You know, I don't know. That was just me, man. But what was interesting about it is like, so those two kids that we see getting taken, you know, they're not weak kids.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. Like they were showing that like whoever the grabber is was grabbing confident, fighting or, you know, spunky kids who could probably, you would think, could take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, the grabber still gets them. So, you know, what is Finn gonna do if he comes after him and stuff? You know.
Well, what I think about it is like one of the kids, the paper boy, really. Like I don't know if it's just me, but he looks like he didn't put much up of a fight, really. But the funny thing is, when he gets kidnapped and he's with the dog, I love how the dog is just standing there watching his owner get kidnapped.
Dude, that would be my dog.
Yeah.
I mean, dogs are finicky dogs. Yeah. I mean, my dog will bark at the mailman and, you know, it'll be like, rah, 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 rah. But then, like, if somebody comes in, like if a plumber or somebody comes into the house and he's like, hey, all I want is some love and attention. Yeah. You don't even have to wave meat in my face and shit, you know? So, I mean, that didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I just found that funny, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like it just like looks like the dog just didn't really care. It's like, please take him.
Yeah. I mean, and I liked how they established like when when they had to like get partners in science class, something like that, and like he meets the girl, who's interested, and his sister's all like, ooh, as they're walking home. But like on a Friday, she stays with a friend's house. So he's like, where you going? No, I'm going to stay over at my friend's house. He's like, okay, so, take care of dad and stuff. And, taking care of dad means, cleaning up after him. He's going to, he's drunk in the chair, and all that other kind of stuff. So it's just that kind of deal. It's like those little subtlety of life and moments. Yeah. And setting up the world as like, okay, around these people, they're trying to live their lives as normal as possible. Yeah. As kids are disappearing, the cops are completely flustered and don't understand like what's going on and how to stop it, because I think eventually like about 6 of them get done before Finn does.
Oh yeah.
And everything like that. And and I mean, what do you think what do you think he's doing to the kids?
Like, I don't know, like what intrigues me is the fact that the guy, his brother Max, didn't know anything about what his brother was doing.
Well, yeah, but Max thought he was a detective, so Max knew everything about the crime. He had his whole wall of like weird. He had his like his needlepoint, and he had his newspapers. So
Yeah, like, but it's just the fact that, like, when he goes down to the basement and sees Finney just...
Well, don't jump that far ahead, bro. Don't jump that far ahead.
Well, I'm not going to jump that far. I'm not going to spoil anything.
We might have to spoil, but I'm just saying is that, but, I mean, go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
Like, it's just the fact that, like, he found Finney in the basement, and he was just like, oh, don't tell me he's done it again, blah, blah, blah.
He did say that, didn't he?
I think he did say that.
Don't tell me he's done it again.
Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like, he looked so surprised to see.
Well, no, he was surprised to see him, but I don't think it was like he's done it again. I think he was like, oh no, don't say this, because he was the amateur detective.
Yeah.
Right? He's trying to find these kids. I mean, that's what happens is that he did one of those usual suspect things when he looks at the board and he realizes that, wait a minute, when he's pinpointing like where the kidnappings happened, it was so close to his house. I think that was what the thing was the fact that, wait a minute, hold on for a second. That was just so close and everything like that. I think that's what it was. But that's again, like, that's like jumping ahead in the way. I mean, like, because like what happens is that so Finney, they show us how he does how to grab and kidnap the kids, because so Finney's just walking home from school, right? And everything, and this guy, comes falling out of the van with these black balloons, and he's got this kind of look on him, drops his hat and stuff like that, and he's like, oh, I'm a magician, and he's like, oh yeah, really? He's like, you want to see a magic trick? And he's like, oh shoot, you tell a kid you want to see a magic, oh yeah, I want to see a magic trick, and everything like that. But then like that's when it got like rough and physical, like where he kidnaps him and stuff like that. You're like, oh, you had that little, like what's going on and stuff. But it's also weird that because it's broad daylight, and the other kids were kidnapped in broad daylight, it's like, how come nobody's looking out their windows or, because he's like in the neighborhood and he's taking the risk, he's getting a black van and stuff like that. But I mean, basically he's fast. He's got this stuff spilling out, he's got all of the, activity, and people were just probably just thinking like somebody in the van and not thinking about, like the kid or anything else like that. So, but, so Finney's caught and he's in the basement and stuff. And, basically there's a phone on the wall, hence black phone. But, Ethan Hawke is like, that phone doesn't work. It's not even plugged in, right? Because he pulled out, the cable's not even plugged in and everything. But then the phone starts to ring, and that's like the concept of the film is like, so because we've already established that Gwen has psychic abilities, so she's trying to use, like basically when his best friend, the kid who saved him from the bullies, get kidnapped, he asked Gwen to use your thing to find him. And everything, and like she's praying to God and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't work. and everything like that. So that's her psychic ability. Whenever being sensitive, she's not telepathic or anything like that.
Yeah.
But she feels things, sees things. But so the phone ringing and everything. That's why I'm asking you. Did you think that? Because for me, I'm thinking that's his psychic ability, that he can talk to the dead.
Yeah, I think that's like what I think as well. Like,
I mean, did you think that? I mean, like the phone was really just a device for him using his ability to talk to these dead kids, or for them to talk to him.
I think, like, like what you like just like what you said, like it's his psychic abilities and everything. Really.
Yeah, but it was cool because they're both children of the mom, and probably the mom's abilities got split between the two of them. But he's never thinking about it because he didn't have this thing where he needed, or he had this ability. Because two of the kids he knew, but he knew of the other kids too. Like when he was talking or heard their voices, he's like, "You're that kid," da 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 da, and all of that. But that's again because it's your neighborhood.
Yeah. What I like about Vinny is like how he like uses like the environment around him in the room to try and escape. Really,
Well, yeah, but what was clever about that? This is what I'm trying to say is like, what was the grabber's methodology? Because what was clever is that we already saw that two of the kids were strong and clever, but they were also so clever that they tried to escape various different ways. So, like using like the carpet rolled up to, create to go up to the window, or, markings on the wall and all of this other kind of stuff. And you're like, well, that's pretty interesting, but it didn't work for them in the end. Right. But like in the expected, so they were like trying to feed him information, do this, hopefully you could get out, do that and all that. And, but so what it seemed that what the attention was, that what the grabber would do is that he would leave the door open.
Yeah, to play like his game.
Yeah. Which I forgot what the name of the game was, but he leave the door open. The kids will come upstairs and everything, and then he grabbed them and do whatever he was going to do to them. But basically, by the time Finn will go upstairs, right? It's like as he sits there in that mask, he literally falls asleep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, come on, kid, come on. He's like, he can't say come up the stairs. He doesn't know when he's gonna do it. And like so that scene where he gets the combination and stuff, and he goes upstairs and everything. And and he's doing the combination locking. When they do the rack focus and stuff. He's gonna wake up and everything. And I forgot what happened there. And then because he got busted, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he unlocked the thing and then ran, but like.
He chases him outside. Yeah, he chases him outside and everything, and he grabs him. And people see this was what the problem is, right? They know that kids are being kidnapped.
Yeah.
And so, like, at least, like, 2 lights turns on. Kind of like in the movie there, like in the movie Halloween. But it seemed like they were too scared to open their doors.
Yeah.
So he's on the lawn with Finn, and he's like, say anything and I'll kill you. And so the lights just turn on, but, they don't even go.
That was always weird to me. I was just like, your hair kept screaming, saying, help me, help me. Literally no one, it was the door, just peeks out the window. What was that noise? But
see, there's a thing, like, I remember when I was in, like, grammar school, I think at the time, and these are the 70s again, right? Is that, like, we would study criminal justice in school, and so we would hear about the diffusion of responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? So the diffusion of responsibility was based on a famous case where a woman gets raped in a courtyard of a apartment building.
Wow.
Right? So it's like a circle, and like so she's getting raped, she's screaming, but there's all these windows, right? And so basically, what people chose to do was they heard it, but didn't come to the window.
Wow.
Right? Or even if somebody came to the window, they closed the Venetian blinds or whatever, and that case became known as diffusion of responsibility, meaning that the people that hear the crime are so scared, but they think or hope and pray that somebody else hears it too. If I hear it, somebody else heard it, so somebody else will call the cops. You don't have to call the cops, so somebody else calls. So the diffusion of responsibility is like you figure somebody else is going to do it. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Right? Which the answer should be call the cops. So like with those two people that didn't open their doors but turned on their lights, it was just that kind of thing to show that it was like he's right there, mate. If you open the door, you'll see. You know, and like he's only empty threat. He's not gonna kill the kid if you come out. Yeah. But you know, he's gotta hope that you're gonna be diffused enough that you're not gonna come out, and that's what happened. I just think but it's great because I mean, in the '70s, that was also like what happened. So again, the timeliness of making this film is really like intriguing in that way.
Fair enough.
You know, so yeah, so he snatched up, he's back in the basement and stuff. You know, and like but basically the kids are like, you got to get out of here because like tomorrow's, you know, like the day, right? Like, so the kids usually only probably last maybe like 2 or 3 days. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, you know, he has to, you know, figure a way out of here, you know. And the sister also is trying to find him, you know. And the cops are even like coming to her because the dad is even say, yeah, use your, you know, whatever. And stuff like that, you know. But then like you know, there's another scene with another kid, like probably like the last kid get kidnapped, who was playing in the arcade.
Oh yeah. Right?
And like now, you know, what was cool about that is that like this kid is an asshole. You know, I gotta get my high score, right? You know, did you ever play those arcade games, man?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And like, but doesn't he like when the cops take him away? She gets into the car, so I think it's a dream or something, like a dream state, and everything, you know, because then you will wonder, like, well, if the cops taking him away, then how did he get grabbed? But you know, it also could have been her way of visualizing the grab.
Yeah.
You know, so that way she could follow the kid, like, so, like, supposedly, like, his high score was the number of the house.
Oh yeah.
You didn't remember that?
Yeah.
Instead of
7-1.
Yeah. 7741. So like this whole thing was that like so then when she calls the cops, say, yeah, I think I know where he is.
Yeah.
You know, and everything like that. But you know, but yeah, now you have introduced the brother because the cops went to the house.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the brother was there, and you know, so you know, and we didn't even know it was the brother and stuff. That's the whole thing. Yeah. But so then, you know, we get like to the end and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess if you say, okay, we're not going to do any spoilers, so we won't do any spoilers. But this was, hopefully you could understand, it was an intriguing film. Yeah. It was well shot. In some of her dream states, like she would see the magician, like the masked magician, like in 16 millimeter and stuff. So, you know, this is probably where you say I couldn't really like see it and something like that because it was already corrupted film looking kind of thing.
Yeah, because I was watching on the live stream, so it was proper blurry and I couldn't make out like some of the scenes. But like what I want to know more is like if they ever did like a sequel to this film, like I want to know like more about the grabber really, and like what made him become like this like proper like child kidnapping serial killer really. Like,
I mean, what's intriguing about that is the fact that like because he's got a brother that, you know what I mean. So like in that aspect is that like I don't know if I mean psychologically probably something didn't happen to him as a child or whatever, but I think that's where I think like I don't know if it's on Joe Hill the writer or if it's on Scott Derrickson the director. Like, did they take a step back? Dealing with the crime itself.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, you know, like he kills the kids. Do you know what I mean? you know, but it's like, what else is obvious, you know? Like, I mean, did he have sex with the kids? Or, you know, did he just, you know, decide after 3 days I'm going to kill you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could say, like, he could have been locked up as a kid, you know, because that happened a lot back then where you were, you know, that could have been tormenting. I mean, because there was that one moment where Finn wakes up and he sees the grabber sitting on the floor in the mask, and he's like, "Oh, I just wanted to look at you." Okay, creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, creepy guy. So like in that fashion, you're like, I mean, is it important? I mean, it's not important. I mean, I guess, you know, but it was just that kind of thing where, you know, you leave too much to your imagination to the point where you're like, you know, because also I just think that what is cool is that because these are clever kids who could take care of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, how strong was the grabber or whatever, or what did he do? Like, he could have drugged them with the food.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because he would bring food down or something like that, you know, and stuff. So you just didn't know, and I mean, I don't know. I'm of two minds of that, you know, and everything. But the main thing I think we can always understand is that like there's obviously a happy ending, you know, without going into like what happens, but I mean, it comes down to the brother and sister and that relationship. I think, you know, and then I think what was really got me was when the dad came along too. You know what I mean?
I guess
well, no, he asked for forgiveness, whatever, you know, like to forgive him and stuff, you know, and everything. So that was really cool and stuff. But and I mean, you could talk about the last shot because it doesn't give anything away because we already know if he survived. So Finney goes to school. He goes to school and everybody's like, that's him, you know, but he's walking tall and shit. You know, he's no longer like running from bullies. Even the bullies are like,
no, I don't want to fuck with that guy.
You know what I mean? And stuff. And then he sits down next to the girl who likes him and stuff like that, you know, and then she's trying to play it off, you know, hello, Finney. And he's like, call me Finn. I don't know where that came from. Well, I know that just came from out of nowhere. It's like, I'm a man now. Call me Finn.
Yeah, he's trying to act like the cool guy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm so cool that I don't have a Y after my name. You know, but I mean, like, but either way you look at it, I mean, sequel wise, I mean, what do you think is the chance of there being a sequel?
I don't know, to be honest with you, because like, I don't know, because. Shall I spoil it for them, or what do you think?
I mean, listen, man, it's a movie, so I mean, you gotta understand that, like, even Freddie or Michael or all of them, you know, something happens to them. So you know, come on, you're not really spoiling it if you say that the grabber is dead.
But yeah, like
you're not because I mean, you watched every other like stalker film, you know, and everything else like that. So we don't have to say how it happens, but.
Well, what I think in the sequel, like, I don't know, like, there's, like, a new grabber or something, and then, like, you know, like... Say,
like a copycat grabber.
Yeah, copycat grabber or something like that. Say, like, oh, there's, like, someone who's inspired by what he does or something. Really.
Well, yeah.
And then, like, you know, then, like, we have to turn a Finn who's, like, proper, like, you know, still, like, say he's, like, still, like, traumatized from, like...
Well, he wasn't really traumatized, but I like the idea that it could be like about 3 or 5 years later because they were 13. So, you know, it's like Finn and Gwen are like 18, you know, so like I like that idea.
Yeah, like, and like, you know, like say like, oh, like this new grabber is doing the same thing as the old one kidnapping kids, to be like, oh, it might be Finn's responsibility to like try and take down this new grabber since he's already taken down the old one.
Yeah. I mean, because also too is that he wanted to find his mate, you know, and everything like that. So it's kind of like now that they know that they have abilities and stuff like that, you know, whether the police seek them for help or, you know, or they, you know, get entangled into it, or maybe it's girls.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean there was a constant array of kidnappings and all that other kind of stuff. So you know maybe the second story is girls, and you know, and Gwen is now trapped and stuff,
Yeah.
and everything, and how would like Finn help her or Kenny help her or whatever and all that other kind of stuff. You know, no, yeah, I mean I think that could work. You know, that could be. I mean, it made like 30 million
Oh yeah.
at the box office thus far. You know, 35 million at the box office thus far. So, I mean, like, you know, which is not a lot, you know, in this world economy of like, I mean, it's not, I don't think he's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right? But it's probably a lot for like a film that's not a Marvel film, you know, and everything else like that. And it was probably made for such a, you know, a low budget as well. With a sense of simplicity that you know they more than likely made their money back.
Yeah.
You know, so Black Phone 2, you go, oh, Black Phone 2, but this time the phone rings harder. You know, and stuff like that, or because it's like 5 or 10 years later, it's now time for digital phones, or you know, he's on a cordless and stuff. You know, you never know. It's all good. But anyway, so what would you score this film?
I think I would score it a 7 out of 10, maybe 8. Like I really like the storyline and everything, and the characters are really good as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely would score like about an 8 to 9 kind of thing, because I mean I love the kids, I love the whole story, love the whole feel of the film, and everything else like that. And I would love for there to be like a sequel, kind of like what we talked about there, but because you know I mean it's hard to make a good horror movie nowadays.
It is, yeah.
You know.
Like I'm just hoping, like it's like if there's ever gonna be a second film, don't make it like, you know, It Chapter 2, where, where at the end they kill Pennywise by calling him a clown. Like, oh Jesus, I still can't get over that part.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, it was either that or the giant spider. You know, and I think we still got a semblance of the giant spider because it is an alien from outer space.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of like they went full on book with that one. So no. So yeah, either way you look at it is that. So that's our review of Black Phone. And you know, as we do, we usually break down the whole film because you know usually you should have seen it. Or if you are planning, oh, you know, we didn't say up top, but like, come back after you've watched it and see if your assessment of the film is the same, you know. But for now, I want to thank my man Lawrence, you know, for suggesting this film. You know, we do need more Cinesquads to come and everything else like that, you know, and you know, probably do Thor and Love and Thunder.
Oh yes, I'm excited for that film actually.
Oh, totally excited, you know. Yeah. I'm just excited to see Chris Hemsworth's bum. I'm sorry, I said it. You flick too hard. You know, I love how he was doing an interview and the woman said, "Did you have to wear a modesty sock?" All right, this interview's over.
Full-blown nudity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, but either way you look at it. So anyway, so this has been Cinesquad, you know, and everything like that. So, I don't remember what my catchphrase was, but either way, it's like we out of here.
Yeah.